Welcome to this explainer. Look, today we're getting right to it. We are breaking down a highly actionable step-by-step roadmap for taking a fragile, tiny idea and transforming it into a massive business empire. If you've ever wondered how these multi-billion-dollar enterprises actually cross that huge chasm from a complete standstill to total global dominance, well, you are absolutely in the right place. Let's get started.
Okay, 90%. Let that staggering number just sink in for a second. That is the failure rate of startups before they even get off the ground. And a massive reason for this catastrophic failure? It's a myth. It's this incredibly dangerous, widespread myth that to build a category-defining business, you somehow need millions of dollars in venture capital, some flashy, high-tech headquarters, and a team of 50 engineers on day one. Honestly, that mindset, it's exactly what sets you up to fail right out of the gate.
Because here is the reality. Empires start small. I mean, before Amazon became the absolute titan it is today, Jeff Bezos literally packed books on his hands and knees on a cold concrete floor. Phil Knight, he was selling running shoes directly out of the trunk of a lime green Plymouth Valiant. The Airbnb founders were blowing up air mattresses on their living room floor just to make rent. The point is, scaling isn't about starting big. It's about starting small, validating your ideas incredibly fast, and building systems that won't totally collapse when that exponential growth finally hits.
Stage 1. Finding a real problem.
To find that real problem, you've got to fall in love with a specific pain point, not just your own cool product idea. The biggest trap new entrepreneurs fall into is inventing a solution and then endlessly hunting for customers who might actually want it. You want to do the exact opposite. And this gym example brilliantly illustrates the power of starting small. You can't compete with the legacy mega gyms on day one, so you have to go niche. Don't open a generic gym. Instead, open a 45-minute high-intensity strength facility specifically designed for busy corporate managers who only have time during their lunch break. By going incredibly niche, you become the specialist, and your customer acquisition costs just plummet.
So once you have your niche, you have to validate it without blowing thousands of dollars on inventory or fancy legal setups. You need a minimum viable product, or MVP. This is the absolute bare-bones version of your offering. Take the founder of Zappos, for example. He didn't buy a massive warehouse full of shoes. No way. He walked into local shoe stores, snapped some photos, posted them online, and when an order came in, he bought the shoes at retail price and shipped them out manually. He proved that people actually wanted to buy shoes online before spending a single dime on real inventory. That is brilliant.
Stage 2. Nailing product market fit and unit economics.
Once your MVP is out there in the wild, validating your core concept, your obsession has to shift entirely. You need to ask yourself, how do you actually know if you have product market fit? It's a buzzword that gets thrown around a lot, right? But basically, you need to know if customers want your product faster than you can make it, or if they rely on your service so heavily that they would be absolutely furious if you turned it off tomorrow.
The ultimate undeniable indicators of this fit are high retention rates and constant organic referrals. If people are trying your product, but they aren't sticking around and they aren't raving about it to their friends, you've got a leaky bucket. Trying to aggressively scale up your operations at that point, it's just going to burn through your cash.
All right, let's slow down for a second and really look at the math of growth here, because this is where a small side hustle becomes a massive business. You absolutely must master two things: your CAC, which is your customer acquisition cost, and your LTV, your lifetime value. Say it costs you $50 to acquire a customer, but they only ever spend $40 with you over their lifetime. Well, you're operating with poor economics. That business is a ticking time bomb. But if it costs $50 to acquire a customer and their lifetime value is $200, boom, congratulations. You have just built yourself a predictable, wealth-generating engine.
Stage 3. Systematization and delegation.
With positive unit economics firmly in place, you enter what I call the danger zone. This is where 95% of small business owners get permanently stuck. Why? Because they end up creating a really demanding job for themselves, not a company. Look, if your business cannot run for a month without your physical presence, you don't own a business. To survive and actually scale, you have to completely shift your mindset from being an operator, the stressed out bottleneck manually packing boxes, to becoming an architect. The architect is a delegator who designs independent, automated workflows.
So how exactly does an architect operate? First, you must document standard operating procedures, or SOPs, for every single task. You have to leverage software to automate all that repetitive scheduling and CRM tracking. You need to outsource non-core stuff like basic bookkeeping and payroll. And honestly, most importantly, you must bring on core team members who own specific outcomes. You hire for outcomes, not tasks. You aren't just handing them a daily checklist, you are delegating authority.
Stage 4. Capital allocation and expansion.
Now that you have these scalable systems running seamlessly in the background without you, it's time to pour fuel on the fire. This is exactly how small businesses explode into industry leaders. You must ruthlessly reinvest your cash flow. I know it is incredibly tempting at this stage to pull profits out for, early lifestyle upgrades, buy the nice car, take the big vacation, but you have to resist that. Empires are built by compounding reinvestment. Funnel those profits directly back into aggressive customer acquisition like paid media and SEO, into R&D for line extensions, and into top-tier talent. You want leaders who have actually scaled companies way past your current revenue level.
And once your core niche is totally dominated and humming along like a machine, then you can aggressively expand your channels outward. We're talking taking your proven product and locking in B2B wholesale deals. We're talking opening up international shipping or dominating entirely new geographic markets. Or developing subscription models to lock in that sweet, stable, monthly recurring revenue.
When you step back and look at this entire blueprint, you realize something pretty amazing. Building a massive empire isn't one single giant leap. It literally never is. It's just a series of these 4 disciplined, deliberate micro-steps, executed consistently over years. Step 1, solve one problem for one person. Step 2, turn that into a repeatable process. Step 3, build a system around it. And step 4, hire great people to run it.
You cannot just sit around waiting for perfect market conditions or some massive investor check or totally groundbreaking idea that literally no one has ever thought of. The companies that are going to dominate tomorrow are the ones taking action today. They're starting small and they're staying relentless. So I'll leave you with this final thought. What clear problem will you start solving today? Find the pain point, start small, and start building.